right, so welcome back. I am going to go into a little bit more depth about fashion blogging by sharing with you how you can create your own blog. WordPress is really the best universal platform. It's very user friendly. It has plenty of enhancements and ways that you can build it out and really customize it. And it offers a decent enough free version. So if you're kind of just wanting to test the waters and see if you are into blogging, how often you want to blog, all that stuff, it's great to be able to do something with no monetary investment whatsoever. Um, so we're going to create a website through WordPress. And you want to use WordPress.com. WordPress.org is a different entity in itself, and it's more reserved for when you self-host a blog yourself, meaning you pay, for all of the information, the files, the memory, the images to be stored somewhere else for the site. When you create a free version through WordPress.com, WordPress is where everything is hosted. And so, like I said, there's great benefits to that in that you don't have to pay anything. But also the downside of it is that they don't really want you to monetize your site. So you can't really make that much money or anything like that off of it. So, if you want to have a money-making venture, then it's probably good that you do your own hosting, but you run WordPress.com in the background. So everything really looks like it's WordPress.com, however you pay to have it hosted elsewhere. And you can decide to do that later too. If you want to create, a site now, you basically have to upload and then re-download the files via an FTP server, which is just more fancy lingo for just like basically a bunch of files in the back end of your website. So it's something that can be easily done, or you can have someone who's a little bit more web savvy help you with that. But just some stuff to keep in mind. But for now, since we're talking so much about all the things to do whenever you start a fashion blog, you got to know where to put it. So let's create a website so that you guys can have an idea a little bit more thoroughly of what it's like to really invest time in creating a blog besides just the content itself, because a blog is really the whole package. It's what it looks like, the ambience, the mood, the feel that's set, the layout, the design, the content, all the visuals. It's all very important and complementary. So you want to make sure that you can do each part of it properly and how you want to. So if you go to WordPress.com and you hit login, you can create a username. And so you're going to have to verify your account via email. So you want to make sure that you use an email here that you can update. And also, if you already have created a WordPress.com account, you should probably log into that and create a new site from there, because otherwise it won't let you use the same email address twice in this process, if that makes sense. So I'll show you guys, because I already have one set up. But you can also just go ahead and create one at this step too. So I'm just going to show you guys. Okay, use this email address. Hopefully that's my right password. Okay, so now we're in to blog. I kind of created some template ones to kind of show you guys. And so once you create your site and you log in, you kind of have this, I call it like the blue world window, and it's kind of like an internal social community within WordPress. So you can have a feed, and you can have people internally in WordPress like your stuff, and you can like their stuff and kind of build a following that way internally in WordPress. So it's interesting. This reader part acts like a RSS feed, but it's not that important. So it's something that you might want to explore, but only really if you have a WordPress.com site. So if we click on my site, I'm going to create a new WordPress blog. So let's see. whenever you log in, like if you didn't have an account already, this is where you'll go to this page. So let's create a site. Okay, what should we call it? Let's call it LIM College Fashion Writing Blog. Okay, so at first it, something existed, but now it tells us that we can use this, and all addresses will have whatever name you create here, and it ends in .wordpress.com. So you can keep it that way for now, but remember that whatever you put here, .wordpress.com, you can't change. So it's a good idea to pick something that you like or you don't mind sticking with for a while. If you buy a domain, so let's say I buy the domain lamcollegefashionwriting.com, I can forward or mask it so that whenever someone wants to go to my site, it'll technically go to this site, but this whole address part will be covered over, and instead it'll just be lamcollegefashionwriting.com, if that makes sense. So you guys can buy domains through WordPress.com, or you can also buy them through like a third party, like a big one like GoDaddy or something that specializes in that kind of thing. But for now, let's say I know that I want LIM College Fashion Writing blog. So let's create the site and continue. Type keyword or address. So this is exactly what I just told you guys if you want to buy a domain. So that shows us that LIM College Fashion Writing blog.com is available. Oh, that's awesome. So if I want to buy that, I can. So it shows you various domains you can get with their endings. But we're not going to worry about paying for anything now, so I'll just say no thanks. And then it asks you to choose a theme. And so it has various free themes here, and some that you have to pay for. So just to make things simple, I'm just going to select one that's like, seems to be an OK blog one. I don't know. What do you guys think? How about let's just do intergalactic for the time being. Okay, so now it's setting up our theme. Step 4.4, which plan would you like to use? Don't remember, we don't want to pay anything, so do free for life. Next up, customize your site. So we already selected a theme. We can start to add features with the plan. No, we don't want to do that. Create another page, write a post, or we can just customize. So work on the layout and design, which I think is a good first step. So let's customize. Maybe if this ever loads, let's switch it to the new one. Okay. So there's two, as I mentioned before, there's two worlds that you have. You have this bluish world, which is kind of internal, and then you have the WP admin world. And I think that one is the most helpful one and the one that you should get used to because it shows you exactly what it's going to look like if you downloaded this software of your own. But for now, I think let's stay in this world to customize because I think this is an easy view to look at it. Okay, it's loading. Okay, so here's that intergalactic theme that I selected, and like I said, I wanted to change it to 2011, so let's just do that. Okay, so there it is. I selected it. It's automatically changing it. Here it is. So this is just the template that they have, and this header changes occasionally. So then we've changed our theme. You guys know how to do that. Site title and tagline. So it basically just dumps your whatever you said .wordpress.com onto your blog. But that's really long and I don't really like it. So let's just say that we're going to update this and space it out and abbreviate it a bit. So let's just say LIM College Fash Writing. Maybe we'll make it fashion. Okay, that looks better. And then tagline. So tagline, is something that comes into thinking about copy and copywriting. And you can also decide to not display your site title and tagline, but I always think it's good because it's basically your logo. You could also incorporate the name of your site and a logo like into the header, but for now let's just leave this. So your tagline is basically what I talked about, like your elevator pitch, but you just get just a few words really to express it. So what could we possibly say that's a tagline that might not be so clear from what the site title is? So that would kind of be, if this is like LAM college fashion writing, like something that's about this class that's like cool, or a reason, that explains what this blog's about. So I might say, a handy guide to fashion blogging for college students at the best fashion college in NYC. So that explains it, but maybe that's a bit long. So maybe we can abbreviate that to like, a handy guide to fashion blogging for awesome LIM college students. I don't know. It can be shorter than that. I'm just messing around here. Okay, so we're done with that. Colors and backgrounds. So you can upload, so this is the background, this gray kind of box. You can just change the color, or you can upload like a picture, or you can create a graphic or something to that. So let's just say I'm going to choose this color, so you can kind of alter the palette a little bit. So not to get too crazy, let's just select this as the background, but it's really easy to upload a photo too. Okay, so layout, content on left, content on right, one column, no sidebar. So for most fashion blogs, it's very common to have a sidebar, and the sidebar is on the right, the content on the left. So right now we have content on left, and now we can switch to one column, no sidebar. So that just means basically the content fills the page. Okay, so now we can deal with the header. So you want to select customizing header image, and this is the current header. Now it tells you what the width is, so you don't have to worry about that, which is 1000 by 288 pixels. So what we want to do is we want to add in a new image, and preferably pre-edit it in advance so that it's about this size. But if not, it'll help you via cropping tool get it to that size. So let's add a new image and select files. Let's see, what do we got here? So where are we going to look? So let's look in our photos. Get a bunch of stuff loaded in there. So just to kind of grab something. It's best, here's some Fashion Week stuff. It's always best to grab something that is kind of a long picture, like a landscape or something like that. So this is a good one. I'm just going to grab this just to kind of have it in there, just to give you guys an idea. Because you don't really want to stretch a photo too much, and you always need to remember too that it's better to take a photo that is large and make it small than small and make it large. So yeah, that's a pretty good, let's see, maybe let's crop it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, so let's crop it. It's cropping. So then that's our new header. So that is just beautiful. And then you can always switch it out and stuff. And here's some preloaded ones that come with the theme. So you have to remember all the time you have to save and publish so you don't lose all of your work, because it's really easy for it to happen. So let's go back into the customizer. We did that. So widgets, this is kind of where you customize your sidebar. So we have the main sidebar, and we can add in a widget. So all the different things that might be important to you that a reader might be looking for. And so you probably want to have categories. We'll create some categories in a bit. Display as a drop down is usually the best way to include them. And remember, you want to save and publish everything. And I'm sorry, for some reason it keeps dumping me out into this mainframe part, but normally it would just take you right back into the customizer. Okay, so don't worry about footer areas 1, 2, or 3. They're really not that important when it comes to your sidebars and stuff. You just really want to focus on the main sidebar. So we only have one sidebar. Let's add another one. These are all the preloaded ones. So you can have a Facebook Lightbox. If you have a Flickr account, you connect to that. Follow the blog for people to sign up for an email. Gravatar is a little icon that you can have that shows up as your blog's image. And so going into the social media stuff, this is very important. Instagram. So you basically log in, you authorize your Instagram account, and then it'll have it loaded right on your site. Okay, let's leave page. So you can get, besides getting Instagram, you can get pretty much all of the social buttons that you want to be in the sidebar. WordPress automatically gives you a bunch of them that goes underneath your post, which is pretty cool, and you can rearrange them or take them out and stuff. But your sidebar is where people will kind of look for your official social media channels. So it's good to make sure that you have them easily accessible. You don't really need to worry about too much of this. Posts I like. RSS is important. RSS links, you might want to have those in there if you're going to have a newsletter that people can sign up for or dump into an RSS feed. Search, you already have a search bar, so you don't really need to worry about that too much. Social media icons you can use. So this is basically like a stream of all of your social media in one shot. So you can have any or all of these on there and insert them. Remember, you have to set up your account. So this is where we're at so far. I did the category, so here it is there. You see it's functioning, but we need to add in some categories too. So that's just a little taste of setting it up. And let's go into that, leave this blue world view and go into the admin view, so that you can have a better idea of what it'll look like and how you should be working. So click on WP Admin. It actually opens in a new window and takes you to the dashboard. So this is kind of like a charcoal gray black world. And so all this stuff on your dashboard in the main part is kind of like a summary of things. You don't need to pay too much attention to it. Here, look, they're trying to sell you the domain again. Oh boy. So your dashboard is really going to be where you find and use everything. If you were setting this up as a retail store, or if you're going to sell things, or if you were a retail store and wanted to use like a blog layout, you could. Posts is where you will create your post, and then you can add in categories here too. This is your media library. You can add media in right there or view what you already have loaded. These are links. You don't need to worry too much about this yet. Pages, so you probably want to create a couple of pages. It gives you some template ones like an about page, but you probably want to have an about, a contact page, a press page. It's possible that you might be able to break out even further categories, but sometimes it gets a little tricky with the free WordPress version because you really can only do so much. Comments, so none so far, but you can see which ones come in, and it's always good to respond. You can set up a poll that can kind of be coded and dropped in pretty easily to a post. Oh, excuse me. And then appearance, so this is if you want to further customize your theme, add in widgets, change the header, background, all the things that we kind of just did. And actually while we're there, let's look at mobile. And so whenever you select a theme, you want to make sure that it is mobile friendly. And basically what that means is any device that anybody is viewing it on, you want to make sure that it's optimized so that they can see and read and click on everything and it shows up properly for whatever kind or size device they have. So whenever you're shopping for a theme, make sure that it's responsive or mobile ready. So this is enable mobile theme. Yes, you definitely want to do that. And so see, just gives you a little bit of the different things that it means when you make it mobile friendly. So let's update that. Always show posts on the front page. It's up to you, probably yes. Show excerpts on front page. And on archive page instead of full post, yes. If people are reading it on like a phone and stuff, you might want to scroll through more quickly and then just click on what's of interest to them. Show featured images on front page and archive page. It's up to you. I'm just going to say yes. Turn off custom header color. Select yes. No, you don't really need to do that. Leave it as it is. And then update. Okay, we're in good shape. So it tells us that. Users. So you have yourself set up as a user, but if you're going to have other people contributing to your blog, you might want to create them a new user profile for them. And so in doing that, you can control, how much freedom they actually have. Sorry, I just accidentally clicked away. See, so that's why it's important to always save your work. In case you're a dum-dum like me and you're not really good with using this Mac. Okay, so users, invite new. And then you can select their role, which determines basically how much they can see and how much they can edit. So obviously an administrator has the most amount of power, an editor second to that, an author third, and a contributor, and then a follower last. So if you just want someone to be able to write to your site but not really see other posts that you've written or anybody else, or be able to edit things, you want to add them a contributor status. So you can send them an invitation, or you can just set up a new profile for them as well. Okay, so tools, we're not going to get too much into that. We talked about importing and exporting. If you decide you want to get rid of this blog for good, you can delete it here. It'll double check with you to make sure that's really what you want to do. Under settings, we have more custom options that you can have to kind of streamline and make it work more for you. So let's take a quick gander there. So general, here again is another place that you can kind of update and change your tagline or your site name. Just going to shift this over so you can see a little better. If you want like a little gravatar type image to be seen across WordPress internally, you can select something here and it just is a tiny little thumbnail, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. You can change your time zone. For some reason, WordPress gets set in a weird time zone that's like 4 hours behind or something, so you might want to update it to a different time zone. And also how the date is displayed. Time format, which is more internally, and week starts on. So this is more for a newsletter information that you need to think about for what day the week starts on. Okay, so I made those changes. So we can go to general and reading. And so it gives you some stats, some changes you can make. Front page, you definitely want to always have your latest posts. Blog pages show it most. So whenever you're starting out with your blog, the chances are is that you're not going to write to it all that much. So you're probably going to want to change this so that there's less posts on a page, so that it appears that there's more content happening more frequently, and readers have to scroll through. So I would do around 5 posts per page. I think that's a pretty common fair number. Syndication feed. So this is can be like the feed, that newsletter feed that goes out. You don't probably want to show a ton of recent info. You could do like 3 to 5 or something like that. For each article in a feed show, usually you're going to want to do the summary because the point is to get people to click through and come to your blog. Site visibility. You always want to allow search engines to index this site because that basically helps you with rank in search engines like Google. It's very important to getting traffic and new users to your site. Related posts. It's good always to show related posts to kind of correlate within your blog. Scroll infinitely, that's fine. Enhance feeds, don't have to really worry about that. So that's kind of the main stuff in there. There's some other changes too that we can make, but I don't want to bore you guys too much with going through all of this stuff. So let's go back to posts and categories since I was talking about that before, and let's add some categories. So WordPress gives you always gives you a default of uncategorized, and so this, like if you forget to select a category, this is what it'll go to. But you can update that name and just change it to something else. So let's just say I want it to be shopping in case I forget to pick something. And you can update it. You don't need to really worry too much about like a description or anything like that. So I'm going to create a new category. Let's say I'm going to do personal style in this blog. So personal style. Parent is basically if it's a sub of another category. Click add. There it is, listed alphabetically. Let's say do another one, say do beauty, parent none, add new category. There it is. So back to the dashboard and go to posts. Let's see all posts. So this is the default one that they kind of create when you create an account. Let's just trash it because we don't really want it and start from scratch. Okay, so let's do add new. So distraction-free writing kind of fills your screen with one big white blank box. So you don't have to worry about like this stuff in the sidebar that you have to alter and set the options. You can just write and write and write. So I think it's a pretty good recommendation, especially as students, when you need to focus on your writing, you can just use that. But it's cool, I think, to be able to edit it as well as you're writing. It really just depends on your working method. So this is going to be our first post. Usually the first post of your blog tells you, will tell the reader like a bit about you and your blog, and then it'll go into, the first post that you write. That's actual content besides a little bit more of a biography about it. So if we're going to do something like that, we can call this, I don't know, maybe like the first post. Fashion, writing, and you. Pretty exciting, I know. So then we come down here. Don't worry about this stuff yet. So I like seeing all my tools in the toolbar. Again, if you want less of a distraction, you can hide it. But most of these things are pretty self-explanatory, especially if you're used to using a Word document. But you basically will type anything like the cat. And then whatever you want to alter or change in any way, you would highlight it. So if I want to bold that, I'd highlight it, then hit bold, then hit italicize, then hit strike through, then bullet, then number, then put in a block quote, kind of whatever you want to do to it, you have to make sure you've highlighted that word. So let's say now we're going to link a website to it. So we already have it highlighted. We would just hit insert edit link. You always have to have the first kind of abbreviation of a website there in its entirety. And what site do we want to link the cat to? Let's just say it's like fashioncats.com. I don't even know if that exists, but probably. And then you want to hit open in new window tab, because it's always good to have a reader check out whatever you're sending them to, but also come back to you. So if it opens in a new tab, your post that they were reading will just still be hanging out there in another tab for them to easily go back to. So you add the link, there it is. If we want to edit it, you can just click on that, and you can kind of wipe it out, or you can take the link out here, remove link. Insert read more tag. This is important if you have lots of content. So let's say that this is like what we're writing is like paragraphs and paragraphs. We want to keep the reader interested. So what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of a break, and it'll say like click here to read more. And I'm sure you've seen it in posts before, and so that'll get the reader onto the next phase. Proofread writing, honestly, this sucks. Don't ever rely on this. It's better to export your information and put it in a Word document and check it that way than with this, because it doesn't pick up on fashion words. I mean, Word really doesn't either, but this is just terrible. Don't ever rely on it. So paragraph, it gives you some very basic fonts that you basically use as headings and subheadings. You don't really need to worry too much about that. Underline, justify, text color, paste as text, clear formatting. So if you copy information in here from a Word document or somewhere else on the web, you want to make sure that it doesn't bring over some like extra funky code that could really screw up your site. You have to be really careful about that kind of thing. So if you select the text and then you hit clear formatting, it'll wipe out any sort of weird code that might have been in there. Special characters, these are for any kind of accent marks on letters or trademark symbols, copyright, registered trademark, any kind of little special thing that you might need to add in there. You can do it. Same way, you just have the cursor where you want it, and then you find this and select it, and it puts it in there. Or you highlight where the word that you want to replace, and you select what you want. So hopefully you guys are still with me. You can always hit undo or Control Z. Let's look at the sidebar. So status, you'll keep things pretty much as a draft until you're ready to publish it. So we need to set up these accounts still. But visibility, you're always going to want to have it public. Stick to this post to the front of the page. You only check that if you want to have a certain post remaining at the very top of the page for a while. Like, for example, if you're doing an ad campaign and the post needs to have like top of page visibility, you would hit that. But other than that, you wouldn't really need to worry about it. And then publish. The cool thing about this tool is that you can set things for a date in the future. Or you could backdate something, or you can set it for now. So it's really helpful, especially during school or on vacation. You can set things to publish and go live whenever you would like them to. So whenever you're ready, you can hit publish. Format, just leave it as standard. You don't really need to worry about that. So our categories are here. Let's say this one is going to go into beauty, so I select that. Tags are ways that your post gets correlated with certain keywords that people might search for in a search engine to find your post. So if I'm writing about fashion cats, it might be like fashionable cats, stylish cats, cats that wear clothes, cats.com, like different kind of combinations of words, both general and specific, that relate to my article that someone might search that would lead them to it. And whenever you search, whenever you add in the tags, you need to separate them by commas. And then you just hit add. Featured image, you don't need to worry about this too much. You can just choose an image that is part of your post from your media library to set. And so you'll see this appear whenever you have a newsletter, this will be the image that appears, or if you have like a featured slideshow at the top of your page, it'll appear in there. And then you see there's these likes and shares. So this is kind of the internal WordPress thing. And remember always to save. It's taking its time. Okay. And so to add media, it's pretty simple. So you want to have the cursor, basically, I'm going to take this number out, it's annoying. Have the cursor wherever you want to insert the image. Then you go to add media. So it's already showing what we've loaded into the media library. But upload files and select a file. Okay, this is from my honeymoon. Sorry for the TMI. But here's a cool picture of coffee. So I'm going to insert that. Now, just to save on steps during this, what you really should do is see this file is like 3072 by 1728. That's like way too big. Way too big. You should edit it in something else like Photoshop or Illustrator, or there's a bunch of free sites like Pixlr or Sketch or PicMonkey or something like that to edit it down, because you never want to add in an image that is really big, because it's going to slow down loading on your WordPress account. So you always want to make it smaller before you add it in. Just to kind of show you guys and move through things quickly, I'm just going to scale it down. So always know what the width of your blog is so that you can make sure that you cater to that. Okay, so I edited the image down in here. Don't do that. Don't be bad like me. And then you want to make sure that you make it your picture search rich as well. So that's the image that it had whenever it uploaded from my camera, but I'm going to make this more specific in case someone's searching for it. They can find this image as well. So be like Kauai Coffee Company. Caption, it's up to you if you want to include a caption with your photo. And then link to media file. What WordPress does is it creates a file for you so that you can have a link to your photo. Oops. But if you want the image to link to an external source, like let's say Kauai Coffee Company, you would do custom URL and add it in that way. Now size, for some reason, whenever you load in an image in WordPress.com, it defaults to this medium 300 size, but that's really kind of small. So you really want to make sure that you're selecting the size that you loaded it into, which should be correct in the size that you want. So once you've got that, you just hit insert into post. And then you can see that the image ended up indeed in the post. There it is. And if you want to make it any smaller or larger, you can just kind of grab it by the handle here and resize it a bit. So let's say let's make it like 400, 402, that's good, just so you guys can have an idea and see. And so the window is kind of getting a bit smaller here, but what you can do is preview it to see how it looks on the blog. And the best browser really for WordPress is Firefox or Chrome. If you try to use Safari or Internet Explorer, it's really not going to format and show you things and be as easy to edit as it is in Firefox and Chrome. So always try to use Firefox and Chrome, or Chrome rather. Okay, so there's the image. That's what it looks like. I linked it to Kauai Coffee Co., so it should go there. Okay, I made up that website, but if it was an actual website, then it would have gone there. But at least it tells you, you know. So there you go. Looking back at the post, making sure, let's see, I'm going to set the publish date to tomorrow, the 19th at 11:46 p.m. This runs on the 24-hour clock, so you might have to count your fingers as to what time it actually will be, and then you just schedule it. So there's other cool stuff you can do with media. So there's lots of other cool things you can do with media. For example, you can create a gallery. And so with the gallery, you would just select using the Shift key and then clicking what you want in the gallery with photos from your media library. Then you create a new one, and then it would give you some options. You can reorder these and stuff in this window. Link to attachment page media file. You just kind of leave that. Columns, let's say one column for the photo size. We want full size. And then you can customize the type. So you can do a slideshow, which is pretty popular, tiled mosaic, square tiles. You just kind of click around and see what you like. So let's say I'm going to do tiled mosaic. And then insert into gallery. It kind of looks ugly there, but we'll preview it and we'll see what it looks like. So that's the tiled mosaic option right there. Kind of cool. So you can click around with these and see what you like and kind of what is a good fit. So even if it does formats this to the tiled mosaic, when you click on it, it will be like the actual size that you loaded it in, and then you can kind of scroll through. So it's a pretty nice built-in feature. Let's go back into this post and edit it. So sometimes it dumps you in this blue world, but you just go to My Sites. If it does, WP admin and post, so you can get used to working in this world. So the one thing I didn't mention yet is pages. So let's just look at that quickly. All pages. So it gives you this default about page. So obviously you want to get rid of the content that it puts in there, and then you want to write your own about. So this page is dedicated to the LIM students taking this course. Great. So it's already published because the site gave us this one. So all we do is update it. And then if you want to create your own, you can do that. So if you want to create a new page, you can easily do that. Just go to Pages, Add New. And then let's say let's call this one Press. Here's my recent press mentions. Publish it. And then you can preview the site. And see, there are those pages. So just here's the about page we just did. We don't really have much in there. But see, this is what I was saying, that you can alter these different share this buttons. You can reorder them, you can delete them. Then here's our press page. And if you want to go in and edit it, all you have to do is click edit. So pretty straightforward. And again, it takes us to this blue world that I don't like, but I guess it'll do. So in a nutshell, that is creating your own blog and setting up for some content in WordPress.com. I know it was a lot of information, and I hope you're not too baffled by it all, but trust me, you can do it, and it is easy. We will pick up with more of this later, as well as more information on the links between social media and blogging. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, and I will catch up with you soon. Professor Gennardo signing out.